Welcome back to Nothing But Nets. I'm joined with the usual suspects. I got Dylan and John. John, everything BK Nets. Absolutely. And Dylan was in the house yesterday to watch this absolute disaster of a basketball game. I know you guys are going to be upset with the loss, but honestly, I don't know what more the Nets could have done to try to lose that game, and they still won by 20. They ran their offense through Keon Johnson like he was Joe Johnson, basically, take any shot you want throughout the game. He was 0 for 7 from 3. He's a train wreck. But Charlotte just, I don't know. Their tank was, Charlotte's not that bad of a team. This is deliberate. And I think the NBA needs to step in and needs to do something because that was absolutely disgusting. That was setting back the NBA. I feel dirty for having to watch that. Like, I would feel better about myself had I watched some, like, horrible, disgusting snuff porn. Like, that was horrible to watch. Wow. Yeah, that was disgusting. That's how I felt about watching this game. I felt like this is criminal. Two teams clearly trying to lose. Dylan, you were there in the arena in person. Give me your thoughts on the game.
See, it's strange, right? Of course, we want to lose, but I said it earlier in the day before I even arrived at the arena. We're going to win that game. There is no world where you don't win that game when Ben Simmons and D'Angelo Russell are playing while LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Mark Williams are out. The one thing that I will say that I'm not really in much of agreement with you is when you say that they were deliberately tanking. Mark Williams, yes, he 1,000% could have played yesterday. But LaMelo, of course, sprained his ankle. Brandon Miller out for the season. They did what they had to do, and it was smart. I mean, why would you not? If Brooklyn was smart, they would have sat Ben Simmons and D'Lo, but they didn't because they're on a 7-game losing streak, and they know that at some point you have to win a game here and there. So if there was a game to win, it was that one. Unfortunately, we're likely to beat Washington now before the trade deadline as well, which is going to be 2-4 before the trade deadline, as you predicted. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun experience. I can't lie. Charlotte is probably the nicest and cleanest city I've ever been in. Like, when I tell you, you get off the highway and immediately you got the Carolina Panthers Stadium to your left. You go about 2 blocks down, make a left, go 3 blocks down, make a left. You're at the stadium. And, like, there's no traffic. I mean, I was driving through there at, like, 5:30. There's nothing. Everybody's super nice. So it was a beautiful city. Very tiny arena, though. Like, when you look at Charlotte as a whole, you had like I said, the Carolina Panthers arena is like almost inside of another building. Like, they're just, everything's on top of each other. So like how you see Barclays as a whole block, like the Spectrum Arena is literally just surrounded by shit. So it's much more condensed. But yeah, the stadium was nice. City was clean. I couldn't complain.
I want to ask you a question about that. I've always said that I am the most cursed fan being a Nets and a Jets fan. But then I look at Charlotte. What's worse, being a Nets and a Jets fan or being a Hornets and a Panthers fan? At least the Panthers
we're definitely bottom 3. Yeah. Being a Jets and a Nets fan is definitely bottom 3. But I would definitely say the Hornets but see, the problem is, though, is would you rather know that you're ass forever, or would you rather the false prophecy and hope of being good and getting let down every time? Like, at least they know their place, Like, every other year, you as a Jets fan probably think, oh my God, we actually may do something. It's like, I would rather not the false.
This past year, I thought we were going to be really good this season. But usually I'm just so deflated and so broken with the Jets. I just assume best case scenario 7-10. Like, that's like next year people are like, oh, well, we still have Wilson and we have Hall. We're gonna have a better coach, and we lost all these games by coaching in the fourth quarter. No, we'll go 7-10 next year and get the 6th pick and miss out on Arch Manning and miss out on like it's so like to me. The Nets are my baby. Like, I have more fun rooting for the Nets than the Jets by far. And
yeah,
I mean, you could
100%. I'm the same way because I'm a diehard Steelers fan, Nets fan, Yankees fan. There's not a team that I would like when they're at their best. There has not been a team that I've screamed more for than the Nets, right? Like, when they suck, whatever. Like, I'm not going to be too invested in terms of emotionally wise, but like, of course, I'm going to watch every game, shit on them a little bit, be the GM, tell them what to do. But yeah, I mean, I would say it's crazy because I would say I'm more of a Steelers fan than I am a Yankees fan, but I don't think I've screamed as loud as I did in the World Series compared to a Steelers game in the last 8 years. But that's also because the Steelers don't know how to win a wild card game. Thanks
Yeah,
to Mike
they are.
Tomlin.
They're a model
But
franchise.
yeah,
They're really just getting hung up in that first round. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's all coaching. Like there, when you look at the history of the Steelers, you had Bill Cowher, right?
Yeah, three
Won 2
coaches. Yeah.
championships. Um, Incredible coach. I mean, he worked a team that had a quarterbacks room of what is it, Brewster and Cordell Stewart. Like
Yeah.
those two sucked, and he worked his way into Ben Roethlisberger with top tier weapons in Antoine Randall, Hines Ward, Santonio Holmes. Like he had weapons that he developed himself. Top O line in the league every year. Very, very solid defense surrounded by James Farrier, Lawrence Timmons, James Harrison. Like they had a fucking unit. Casey Hampton, Brett Kiesel, Palomalu, Ryan Clark. Like I could go on. The early 2000s for Pittsburgh was probably my favorite. But notice immediately when the team was handed down to Tomlin, they made it to a Super Bowl within his first 2 years, and they haven't done dick since. Why? Because he had the same team and the same culture passed down from Cowher to him. And since he's taken the reins and done things on his own, the motherfucker can't get out of the first round. Not even the first round. The wild
let me
card.
push back on that. They're in the playoffs. What was the last time they've had a losing season? Not under Tomlin at all, right? Ever.
I would prefer a losing season.
I get it, but
the year 2 years ago we started, I think, 3-8. We finished 9-8. Like, I'm sorry, but that was the draft class where CJ Stroud was available. That was the draft class that had quarterbacks. Why the fuck wouldn't you just lose? I can't stand Tomlin. The ego
at 3-8,
trying
the
to get
season's
these,
already
as soon as
over.
he gets the winning
I
record,
agree. Yeah, at 3-8, you can't make the playoffs.
Yeah, and we
right?
missed the playoffs by a half a game. Yeah. Yep, we missed the playoffs by a game because the Ravens ended up winning their final game of the season. And I'm just like, see, you did all of that to move from a top 10 pick, which we have not had ever, like since Ben Roethlisberger. You do that to get to pick 20 again. How many times are we going to pick in the 20s, you know? Like, it's just, it's ridiculous with them.
In
I can't
football,
stand
though, you can get talent you can't get that franchise-changing quarterback likely in the 20, but you can get really good players still in the 20s. It's not like the NBA. You can get really good players in the 20s.
I mean,
you're not going to get CJ or Jaden Daniels or a franchise-changing quarterback, most likely. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, I mean, things, but typically those guys go 2 or 3. Or one.
I was going to say too, like the NFL, the first 2 rounds of it is like the first round. Like you're getting probably midway through the third round, you're getting first round talent. You know, so
there's a lot of talent and yeah. All right, let me bring John in. John, I want to ask you this question. BTB brings this up. Still 5 games against Washington and Charlotte left. That can be a good thing. That can be a bad thing. 5 games against those 2 teams
combined. I don't even think teams each.
5 games total. Right? Combined, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Oh,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, just based on what Dylan said, you look at our results this whole last night. Everybody was in the plus, so that team was very horrible. Congratulations, Nick Claxton. You beat up on a grandfather and Taj Gibson. Tusani Wumon, Walmart guy. You had the best plus and minus on night. You just got promoted to Employee of the Month. Congrats. But now we look at the logistics of it. This goes back to that first month when Coach Jordy told Sean Marks, I'm not going to take, and all he said was go for it, and he proved him wrong because Sean Marks didn't actually think this team would be that good, and Jordy just showed you what a great coach he is. And now Marks had to go back on all that and try to catch us up, and we are catching up, and now we're kind of stuck because those 5 games, we could probably win all those 5 games if the same teams like we saw last night and Washington is putting out, we could win those games when we're not really supposed to, but given the fact they played so well that first month, that could come back to bite us in the ass. And will Sean Marks gamble pay off? Who knows? Sean Marks likes to live on a haywire with this team. But at the end of the day, if this fails for us, I'm looking back at that first month and Sean Marks not being able to be a good boss and stand his ground, which we have shown numerous examples that he has in the past. But yeah, look at the results last night. We won just because that team was very horrible. But I want to give LM, who was on Breezy's show, a lot of credit last night. He said something very interesting. A lot of teams that came into this season knowing how historic this upcoming draft is with a game plan, which was to suck and be as bad as possible. Washington Wizards, example. The Raptors, probably one of the most smartest teams to tank. They have their franchise guy in Scotty Barnes, but why not pair a secondary star to him? Smart of them to tank like they did in the beginning of the season. Yeah, they're starting to win now because they're healthy, but they had a game plan to put somebody with their cornerstone guy. We all knew what our game plan was when we did that Mikal Bridges trade, which was to get in this draft. But then when you won 10, 11 games, what happened? And now we're hoping that catching up right now will do us wonders, but winning 5 or 6 more games could easily screw us. So let's see if this gamble pays off or not.
I want to bring the same question to you.
The one thing that I want to say the one thing I want to bring up with the schedule, right? One of the comments says that we play 3 against Washington, 2 against Utah, 2 against Charlotte, 2 against the Raptors. Realistically, we should lose both of the Raptors. We should split with Charlotte. We should split with Utah, and we'll probably win 2 of the 3 against Washington, right? So you're talking about 2. That's 4 more wins against the bottom tier teams. Realistically, I could see us going like 4-4, which isn't the end of the world. But again, that leaves you little to no room to upset a team, right? Goal's got to be under 23 wins. If you have under 23 wins, you'll likely be bottom 4. New Orleans should have more than us. Toronto should have more than us. That at least puts us at 4. I don't see Charlotte getting ahead of us now, especially with the injuries. They're probably going to sit LaMelo until after the All-Star break. You know, Brandon Miller's out for the season. Mark Williams is a vegetable in terms of his health. I don't see. Also, if they land a top 3 pick, that puts them as probably the most exciting young core in basketball. So even a top 5 pick, I actually think it's got to either be Flagg, Edgecombe, or Trey Johnson for them. I think those are their best fits because they don't need a 3. They have Brandon Miller. All right, they don't necessarily need a center because there's not a good enough one in the top 5, and you don't need a point guard because you have LaMelo. So I feel like the lottery is going to manipulate a little bit to where they either land 1 or 4. Because again,
I can't see. I know. Okay, you got to keep the Duke guy in North Carolina, but I can't see Charlotte getting the number 1 pick. Like it's just like I can't see Washington.
Yeah.
The NBA tried giving Washington the number 1 pick with John Wall back in the day when that was like the big thing. John Wall was going to be, and he was good. I mean, he didn't live up to what the hype was, but John Wall was really good. That didn't work out. I think the NBA is done with Washington, because it's a decent sized market. It's okay.
How I see it right now is the only 3 teams that have a chance at 1 is Utah, Charlotte, and Brooklyn. I think Washington will likely be 3 or 4. I don't think they get rewarded for it. Plus, I don't think Dylan Harper is the pick for them.
Can I be honest? I think 1 team has a chance at 1. Utah. Like I think Utah is getting 1. Like I think that's already been written in stone by the powers that be in the NBA. I really do.
I don't think so. I really think they would. Because here's the thing, right? What's a better storyline? White guy in Mormonville, low market, Utah, right? In the middle of fuck all nowhere, or Duke player in North Carolina, or the largest market in the top 5, which is Brooklyn.
You could do that, but I think the NBA wants Dylan Harper in Brooklyn. So I think the Nets are picking 2
I agree. That's why I think Charlotte at 1, Brooklyn at 2, and then either Washington. I would think Washington at 3, honestly, because I think Ace could be a good fit there, but it just depends. Like Utah probably will get a top 3 pick. Like I said, I think the top 3 is going to end up being Utah, Brooklyn, and Charlotte, whatever order you want to put it in.
Yeah.
But I definitely yes, it's a better storyline if Cooper Flagg goes to Charlotte. Yes, it's a better storyline if Harper goes to Brooklyn.
Last year when we were watching the lottery, was there any doubt in your mind that San Antonio was going to pick number 1? Because I was 100% certain San Antonio was picking number 1 last year. Was there any doubt in your mind that it was going to be anyone else other than San Antonio picking 1?
Yeah, just because the class sucked. I mean, if they're gonna
I mean, not last year. I mean, I'm sorry, not last year. The Wembanyama year. I'm sorry, 2 years ago.
I genuinely didn't. I mean, they were what, the 6th worst team? They jumped from. Like that. Yeah, I didn't see them getting it. No.
I saw them.
I didn't even think of it like that at the time. Like,
I he's going to San Antonio. Like that, he's. Going
I honestly thought it was going to be Detroit because if they got him and Cade, I mean, that's a contender. 100%.
That would have been scary.
But the way I look at it is, look, the NBA needs stars. Stars are what sells the NBA. Wembanyama is a star internationally. Okay, so we need to get him on a good team in a winning situation immediately. Who can help him win? Pop. We're going to put him there. Cooper Flagg is a star. Who can help him? Who can put him on a winning team? Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge can build a winner. We'll put him in Utah. They'll love him there.
I would say Jordy's a little bit better. I mean, their coaching is the issue.
Yeah, but the Nets are such a horrible franchise, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do they really trust?
What's Utah really without Stockton and Malone? Like, that's like the Nets without Kid and Kid.
They built quality teams with. I mean, they didn't go far in the playoffs, but they had the best record in the NBA with Spider and Gobert.
Yeah, But they were also first-round exits.
That's true too. But they had decent teams with like Darren Williams and Karolenko, and like they went to conference finals with those guys. Like but Danny Ainge, like I think the NBA trusts that Danny Ainge with Cooper Flagg can get into the playoffs where they can highlight Cooper Flagg relatively quickly. And that's why I think he's going to Utah.
Right, and I'll say this too. Props to Danny Ainge for the Rudy Gobert hole that he got, because it's looking great. Look at the Timberwolves. Since they gave away Towns, that team has just been so bad and inconsistent. And Rudy's in his 30s now, making $100 million. That's eventually going to crater. And the Jazz also got that 2031 pick from the Suns, who are going to crater too. They might not make this Jimmy Butler deal, so they might break it up in a year or two. So Ainge has the assets, and he has some young pieces. He just needs the main superstar prospect. If he gets Cooper, pair him with Laurie, and you get a third young star, they're right there. They're right there with OKC, Memphis, and the Rockets. So they can rebuild that quickly if they get number one.
Bailey's the better fit for them because they have Keontae George and Isaiah Collier for their point guards. They have Larry Markkinen as their 4. They have Walker Kessler as their 5. They have Taylor Hendricks, who was out for a season-ending injury this year, but again, he plays the 4, has high potential. Like realistically, Charlotte and Brooklyn, I feel like, are the only true fits for Cooper Flagg.
We are. We definitely are one of those
because Charlotte's been wanting to move off of Miles Bridges for a while now. Like, if they move off of him in a package, say with like a Mark Williams or somebody to grab a star big man, I mean, you got a star big man next to Cooper Flagg and LaMelo and Brandon Miller? That's disgusting. That's a fun team to watch.
I love how we all just accept that the NBA lottery is rigged. Like no one's even pushing.
I don't want to say it's rigged, but you think about it. We're the 4th richest market. It's going to be in Brooklyn. We've never drafted a lottery prospect in Brooklyn history. The stars should align, but I just wish we would have tanked a little better that first month because then it would look more logistic. Now we have to potentially beat bad teams just because they're worse than us, and that could hinder our odds or not hinder our odds. But we're on the right track now, but we still have a lot of work to do to get that first real lottery prospect.
I want to address this to Dylan. You're the Duke guy. Whitehead says, I'm sorry. Alex says, can Cooper play? Cooper can't play the 3? Question mark.
He can definitely play the 3. Yeah. He can definitely play the 3. The thing is, though, is it's just he's not the best floor spacer as of yet. He's starting to get better with it. But again, do you really want a guy next to Walker Kessler and Isaiah Collier who can't shoot?
That's interesting.
Like it comes down to what the NBA ultimately values. I think Charlotte is a high prospect away from being a very, very good team, especially with Jeff Peterson being their GM now. He was the Brooklyn assistant. Like if he's done the right things by selling off contracts and getting bad contracts. Like he's up to their draft capital. They have bad contracts that'll eventually expire and they'll have cap space. Like they have a very good situation going for them. So if they grab Flagg, I think they're the team to be. Like I see them being Houston in 3 years.
Wow.
I could definitely see that. I mean, LaMelo signed long term. Brandon Miller is going to sign an extension. At that point, you're really just looking to see, does Tajon Saloon progress the way that at the pick that they drafted him at, and can they find a replacement for Mark Williams if he can't stay healthy? That's really all they need with depth, and they're fine. So I could definitely see Charlotte winning the lottery.
It's such a franchise that no one cares about. I get what you're saying, but it's like such a franchise that no one cares about. It's like Atlanta. Like Atlanta wins the lottery when it's Zachary Ricochet, right?
Yeah,
they're not winning the lottery.
I still think Alex Sarr should have been the pick, but
they're not winning the lottery in a year like this, right? Like we can agree on that because it's a team that no one cares about.
I would be shocked if they got number 1. I mean, you want Cooper Flagg, the first, real big, huge prospect since, in a long time, to go to a team like Charlotte or Washington? No. Brooklyn or Utah makes way more sense for Cooper Flagg because they're 2 markets that are on the up and come, and Utah and Brooklyn has the most draft capital besides San Antonio. So you'd want to have a star prospect on a team with flexibility. You wouldn't want him on a team where the organization doesn't know what the hell they're doing. I think that's what me and Gary are trying to imply right now, where you're trying to draft Cooper to the right place.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking in terms of like what the best fit would be. It's by far Charlotte. Like I would say Charlotte's a better fit for Flagg than us.
I think Charlotte's a good, because if you went to Charlotte, right, every white barbershop in the country will have a picture of Cooper Flagg dunking on Kevin Durant or whoever he posterizes first, right next to the picture of Tyson Fury knocking out Deontay Wilder. Right? Like those two pictures are going to be next to each other forever. You know what I'm saying?
We got to do that, Gary. Bob, stop it. So we draft Cooper.
It's like Cooper DeJean getting an interception in the what is it, the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, no, I like. Listen, like I said, I think if you're really looking in terms of the best fit for Flagg, he's already built up a market in North Carolina. Like, he is the guy. He is the best prospect they've had since Zion. You know, I don't know. It seems like it would be a cool story with him in Charlotte. Of course, I want him. I just think in terms of who the best two markets are with the best potential in terms of teams, I think it's both Charlotte and Brooklyn that are in the top 5. So I would definitely see one of those two teams getting number 1 potentially.
Who do you think has I still think Brooklyn's getting, like, if you ask me right now, I would, if you gave me even money on all of this, I would say I would bet on a couple of things. I would bet that Utah gets the number 1 pick and gets Cooper Flagg. I would bet even money on that. And I'd also bet even money that the Nets get Dylan Harper. Whether they pick 2 or 3, I don't know. But I would bet the Nets get Dylan Harper.
Yeah.
I would bet even money on both of those things.
Getting a Rutgers star as your first ever lottery prospect history, I think the marketing works itself out for you. And as Coach Jordy has shown, he is known now as the point guard whisperer. So having a floor general that has shown you he could be a closer, not just a high IQ playmaker, is huge, especially when he has to rebuild and get a eventual star to play with a guy like Dylan Harper. So I would be totally fine with that. And if we get Ace, long-term wise, he probably has the most growth to make, but he could definitely be that next big scorer to come out of this draft. So 2 or 3 would be great for us. It's just we have to put the work in, and we're getting there, but these extra wins, they could decide getting top 3 or top 6. That's just how it goes, unfortunately.
I want to Boomtown is a big Toronto Raptors fan. Thank you for winning all those games, so we moved up in the lottery. Thank you, Boomtown. Thank you for your Raptors. What, they won like 5 in a row? They're like the hottest team in basket, and they're talented too. Like, there was no reason for them to be,
Not to mention, they're also a team that's monitoring Brandon Ingram, and they have a package that could land him immediately. Like,
wow.
Realistically, I mean, it would probably take like Jakob Poeltl and a salary filler plus a first. And realistically, that works for both teams because, I mean, Toronto would be a little stiff at center, but I mean, at the same time, they could also go out of their way to try and grab a guy like, a Josef Nurkic or a Miles. Like they have options. So I definitely think it's going to end up being. I definitely think Toronto or Detroit is the team that lands Brandon Ingram. But I'm also hearing Atlanta could be interested in Cam Johnson just because of the Jalen Johnson injury. So we'll see. They're looking at Clint Capella and Bogdanovich. Listen,
I'm gonna wind you up and then let you unload, Dylan. Boomtown wants to know what realistically can the Nets get for Cam Johnson. I was gonna do this later on, but screw the game. The game was a disaster. We don't really need to spend 2 more seconds on the game. The game was disgusting. Yeah. It was disrespectful to basketball. We don't need to spend any more time on it. Let's get to Cam Johnson, right? Thank you for the segue, Boomtown. What realistically can the Nets get for Cam Johnson? Are the Nets still looking to load up on picks? I'm going to let you go, John, but I'm going to let Dylan cook first because Dylan, he's wound up. Now I'm going to let him
I'm pissed. Yeah, I'm pissed. We're going to get Dick for him, and that means we're going to keep him because, like always, Sean Marks, with role players that he gives contracts to, does not know how to trade them at their highest value. He is a fucking moron. How do you not trade Johnson when he's at his highest value and allow Jimmy Butler and De'Aaron Fox to hit the open market in the trade market? How do you allow that? Because at this point, not a single team is going to look to give up more than a first-round pick for Johnson. You were at a point where you probably could have gotten a first and a heavily protected second first, but instead you valued Devin Carter over those picks in a year that you're likely going to draft a point guard anyway. It's absolutely pathetic. It blows my mind how the guy has a job. He is a fucking moron. I've never seen anything like it. He did this with Joe Harris. He did this with Patty Mills. As soon as you say that you love it here because you got paid, that guy literally folds like there's no tomorrow. He should have been dealt last month. Every rumor and every person that I spoke with had him being traded last month, which is why I was reporting on it. And now they want to turn around and say, oh, we're interested in De'Aaron Fox and in Giannis Antetokounmpo, but we're not going to go for De'Aaron Fox because we want Giannis, but we're also going to hold Cam Johnson because maybe he could be a trade piece later on. How are you going to trade him for a guy like Giannis and have no depth around Giannis? It makes no sense. You should have just taken the value and stayed the course. But instead, Sean Marks is a fucking moron. And I will reiterate it every single time. He is an idiot. He is not a good GM whatsoever.
He overplays his hand. His timing is awful. He doesn't know how to value a team. Like, if we traded everything we have for Giannis, we're Milwaukee. We're a horrible team with a good player.
We're worse than Milwaukee. We're worse than Milwaukee. Damian Lillard's better than Cam Thomas.
He is, but Dame's pretty shot, right? Like, he is.
Dame's still better than Cam Thomas, and not to mention, if you get Giannis, you're likely going to trade Cam Thomas.
Yeah,
there's no scenario where getting a guy like Giannis makes remote sense.
We're probably worse than Milwaukee, but we're
probably a play-in team with just Giannis.
We're 5. I would say we're with Orlando's.
I don't see us being better than Indiana.
I'd say we're a 5
I don't
or
see
a
us
6
being better
seed.
than Orlando, the Knicks, the Cavs.
Well, Orlando is falling off the map.
I don't know. I don't see us being better. Yeah, but that's because they dealt with the injury issue. They were the 3rd seed not too long ago.
I think Orlando's really good, but at a certain point you got to start winning, or you're not that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like Orlando for sure, but they're losing games left and right.
They're another team though that's just greedy with their players. Yeah, they're another team that's just greedy with their players. Why are they not all in on De'Aaron Fox, whether he wants to be there or not? Why are they not trying to go after a guy like Trae Young? Why are they not trying to go after a guy like Anthony Simons, who they've been rumored with for the past 2 years? Like, they need a scoring point guard. You can't have Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs, who combine for like 16 points a game, being your starting and backup point guard. It just doesn't work. You have to give a playmaker and a guy who can put up 20 plus at the guard position next to Paulo and Franz. Like, it makes no sense to me what they're doing.
Sean Marks, I agree, is horrible at understanding his roster. Moron. He's incompetent. He doesn't understand the value of his players. He doesn't understand. He can't properly assess his team. Like, last year, he tried so hard to get it into the 10th seed so we get one extra playing game. We didn't have the roster to do it, and he could have traded Doe. He could have traded Cam Johnson. We could have got 3 1s at that particular time. Now we're going to get no 1s and be stuck with Cam Johnson. And now he's trying to trade Cam Johnson for Giannis. And I'm not 100% opposed to it, but if you get Giannis, you have nothing. And I don't even know how much cap space you would have, right? Because he's messed this up every single step of the way. And that's why when you guys want to tank, it's like, we don't have Danny Ainge. We don't have a GM like that. We don't have a GM that can build. We have Sean Marks. Sean Marks, do you have any confidence that Sean Marks
We don't have a GM that can build. We have a GM that can draft.
And his drafting is kind of overrated.
No,
Kevin Durant drafted.
But that's why I said,
Cam Thomas.
Mark should be. Yeah, no, that was Jeff Peterson.
It was Kevin Durant.
I was going to say, realistically, Mark should either be a scout or he should be president of basketball operations. The man should not be allowed to take control of what the team does, though, in terms of making moves, signing players. He should not be allowed to do that shit.
Dylan, can I just say disgusting. that was a very great.
We have Danny Ainge to not bring back Bruce Brown to keep Patty Mills.
Dylan, that was a very great soliloquy. That was a very great soliloquy. But this is what it's like being a fan with Sean Marks at the helm. This is like what being a fan of his is. It's like a lot of hell that you don't need to go through. And the fortunate thing is, 3 weeks ago, half the league wanted Cam Johnson. His value was at the highest, and all Sean Marks said was 2 picks. Well, fast forward 3 weeks later, the market has kind of died down. Now you have a Jimmy Butler tsunami mess on your hands, followed by a De'Aaron Fox bombshell of the ages, and Cam Johnson's now gone to the background. Now I'm hearing that they want to keep him because they might want to do the honest thing. But just like Gary, me, and Dylan have agreed, you trade for Giannis. What depth do you have left? This free agency coming up this summer, I encourage you all to read it. It is atrocious this summer. So we make the move for Giannis. What is Marks thinking? That whoever we draft is going to be a superstar the first year with Giannis? Yeah, that rarely ever happens. So if that's what Marks is banking on, what the hell are we put ourselves through this pain and torment that we take each season for if the point is to destroy all the assets we recouped quickly, mind you, through great fortune, just to destroy and screw it all up? That's the unfortunate problem with Sean Marks. He's a year-by-year GM without a set game plan. He has no idea how to establish consistency. Look at all the championship teams. They've had rosters together for 4 to 5 years. We've had rosters together for 2 years max. Like that, you can't have any type of consistency.
It's unfortunate.
We
didn't have James Harden for a full season. Kyrie was out his first year just like KD. KD was in and out of the rotations. Kyrie was out because of COVID. You didn't have the same depth. You lost LaMarcus Aldridge because of a heart issue. You let go of Bruce Brown because KD said he didn't like him. You brought in Patty Mills because he was a culture guy, because he was from Australia. He's a fucking moron. Sean Marks sucks. He is a bottom 5 GM in basketball.
And going back to Cam Johnson,
if
there's
I
only one
team. More words, I would.
And going back to the Cam Johnson, the only team I see now that has a great shot at getting a good deal with him done is Memphis. But now I'm hearing the Jimmy Butler to Suns thing might not happen. If Memphis gets Jimmy Butler, who do we have left as options? OKC is so pig-headed, they don't want to get involved now. And no other team has offers that we want for Johnson. So if we do keep him, this Giannis Pandora's box might become a roller coaster ride nightmare for some people this summer. So buckle up if he is still on this team at 3 p.m. sharp on Thursday when we talk about this. You hope it doesn't happen, but just the way it's looking right now, it seems Mark wants to have his cake and eat it too by keeping a guy who you could have traded for some decent value. If Cam Johnson's on his team till he's in his 30s, he's not going to replicate his production. His production has mostly been around 13 points, being a lottery pick. This season, it's now up to 19 after 3 good months, but some people want to say that makes him a great player now all of a sudden. We have to wake up and stop with this, having these blinders on. The idea was to trade him before this deadline and get a top pick. Now you want to keep him because you might want to get a Giannis. But if you have no depth around him, what's the damn point? Exactly.
I want to ask this question. I said last week I'm 55% certain that Cam Johnson's going to stay. I'm going to up that to about 65% now. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think is the odds that Cam Johnson stays and opposed to him leaving, him being traded? Dylan?
70% that he stays. 70. No. Sean Marks is a fucking moron.
He's going to blow it so bad. This is what I'm saying. We can't rebuild with him. He got our picks back. Sean Marks has to go. He has to go. We can't rebuild this thing with Marks. It's not going to work. It's not going to, he can't rebuild this. He's not smart enough. He can't assess it. He gets so much credit for drafting guys like Jarrett Allen and Nick Claxton. How good is Nick Claxton really? Jarrett Allen's a great pick. Fine. But then he traded him and LeVert, right? Since then, Cam Thomas wasn't his idea. He wanted to trade the pick, right? So he drafted Clowney. Great. So that's what we're hanging our hat on? Right, he's not what he's made out to be, and he certainly can't build a roster. We know when he had a championship roster with the big three. Look what he put around him: DeAndre Bembry, 40-year-old Blake Griffin. He didn't resign. He resigned Patty Mills instead of Bruce Brown. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can't assess a team. He doesn't know the talent. He doesn't know how to build a roster. He can't do this. You guys are like, well, if we just get these young guys, if we just get Cooper or Ace, and what, and build with Sean Marks. He can't do it. I can't have him here anymore. He's going to screw this up.
I totally agree, and I hope that out of nowhere this summer, Sean Marks has been promoted to some type of position in the front office. We have an actual GM, because just seeing the way this is all looking, even with trying to have a set plan this year, Marks didn't fully commit. He hired a guy who doesn't want to tank, and he literally said good luck because he thought this roster was horrible, and it wasn't, because Jordy's a good coach and actually has something Sean Marks doesn't have: experience at his position with the Olympics and all that. Sean Marks is not a businessman. He's a good guy that knows how to draft somewhat. But, guys, he had the pick to get Tyrese Maxey, and he traded for Landry Shamet. I'd rather have had Tyrese Maxey on our team, because if we did blow things up with the big three, I had Maxey and Thomas potentially, and I could have built that.
If I have James Harden and you have Ben Simmons, the trade that I'm making is this trade, Philly, and listen closely, because there's no other trade. The trade is James Harden for Ben Simmons and Tyrese Maxey. There's no other trade. If you want Harden that much, that's the trade. And they would have had to make it, because they thought they could win a championship with Harden and Embiid. Instead, he gets Seth Curry, a bunch of garbage, right? Things Andre Drummond, who doesn't even want to be there. You get a bunch of garbage. No. Listen up, Philly. This is the trade. Listen one time, because if you say no, it goes away forever. It's Harden for Simmons and Maxey. Make up your mind. That's the trade. And they had to make it. They have to make it, because Maxey wasn't ready yet, and they have a very short window. They would have made the trade. That's the trade. But I don't understand what Marks thought he was getting in Andre Drummond, who's a backup center, and Seth Curry, who is the backup guard. Like, what? This doesn't really help you. I mean, they're not bad players, but what does it do for you? Like Patty Mills and Seth Curry, like what the hell's the difference?
It helped you win a few games, but then in the playoffs, you clearly saw Curry couldn't guard a lick of shit, and Drummond was slower than molasses.
If I play Patty Mills 18 minutes a game or Seth Curry 18 minutes a game, what the hell's the difference? Like, really, what's the difference?
They played Patty Mills in that series too, and he got cooked. And I'm just like, why is you not playing some of these other bigs on the team that are just riding the bench? Like, Marks doesn't understand what he's doing, and it's just so unfortunate that we're actually committed to something. And things are just still going off the rails somewhat. Having 15 wins already, I didn't expect to have 15 wins this season. I thought maybe 10 or 11 would be generous, but again, Marks just lets the wheels fall off, and he let Jordy control the ship. Listen, I appreciate things Jordy's doing. He's going to be a great coach for us, but to give him all that autonomy, being a first-year coach, Sean Marks, are you a boss or are you a boss friend? Because boss friends don't exist in business. You have a boss and you have people that work for the boss. That's it. And Mark says, I don't know if you understand, Mark says, oh, I don't treat what I do as a GM and what the coaches do as, I'm the boss, they're the people. We work together because it's a coalition. I value their input. And when Mark says something like that, it means he has no idea how to make those tough decisions by himself. And if you can't do this as a GM, you shouldn't be the boss. Because clearly the results have shown that this guy cannot make a huge decision by himself. Hell, the superstar Katie wanted him out. And Joe Tsai chose Sean Marks over Kevin Durant. I just it's insane. Imagine if Tom Brady asked out and he said, "You have to fire the coach or me." What are you gonna do, boss? You're gonna eliminate the guy that won 5 or 6 rings for you?
Come on. He pretty much did that. He said
exactly.
Who was the quarterback in New England that was backing him up? It was Garoppolo, I think, right?
Yeah, Jimmy G. Yeah.
And then who was the other one? Because they had another guy that was solid.
Jacoby Brissett, is that who they had?
No, I think it was somebody else. But regardless, they decided to keep him and not improve the roster for Brady, and Brady left. It's the same thing. It's stupidity, and look at what New England's been since. Dick.
Right. And Brady won a title when he left. It's like you could try to make all the excuses in the world and say, oh, Mark's got the 31 picks back. We're good. It doesn't matter. Besides the 25, 26, the rest of those picks are 20, 30, 40 picks. They're mostly trade chips to eventually get you a star, but who is the star? If it's just Giannis, you have a 3 to 4 year window. Is that enough? Of course not, especially if you have no depth. So whoever the star is, it better be somebody that's around the team that actually has depth. Because if you have no depth, you're not winning a damn thing.
It does open up a window. If you have do I believe that Sean Marks can build a championship roster around Giannis in 3 or 4 years? Of course not. No, I have no confidence in him. Yeah. But it gives you a window now. Like you have Giannis at the peak. I mean, at the tail end of his prime, you got 3 or 4 years left to peak Giannis. Let's see what you can do with it. Right, 3 or 4 years is an eternity in basketball. 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. We were just getting the big 3, right? Like you see how things change in 4 years. Things change drastically in 4 years. Right. Do I think Sean Marks can do it? No. I mean, if we got Giannis, are we in good shape? No, we're not a good team. We're still far from a title contender. We just have Giannis. And I would have to look at the cap space, like what do we have to work with? Like what do we have here? It's probably not going to work. It's Sean Marks and the Brooklyn Nets. No, it's probably not going to work. Dylan, you want to get in on this? I gotta go. I'll be right back.
Yeah, there's no chance that it works because again, you're trading all of your young players and picks for Giannis. Then what? The best available free agents, Jimmy Butler and Brandon Ingram.
Those aren't even secondary and third stars. And the thing is this: if you make the Giannis move, who's the second star to be? If Fox is going somewhere else, who we will look at as an option, he's out the table. There's no other superstars available that could be a compliment to Giannis around unless they're a Luka or Edwards, and those guys are 2 to 3 years for being available. And at the time, Giannis would be at the down spiral of his career. So just making the move for Giannis. Look at what's going on with the Bucks. The guy is killing himself this season to carry the team, and their record is they're above 6 or 7 games with him playing at a high level. You put that on his team of Brooklyn's can be the same thing, but with even worse depth. This free agency this year doesn't look that promising. So to make this move for Giannis this summer, you can make it, but you're going to live with the consequences of giving up half of your fortune for a guy that's to carry another team by himself at 31. There's a lot of risk and gamble involved that we don't have to make right now. I'd rather have a young star grow on this team and then pair him with a superstar. Because at least you have 2 pieces you can rely on as opposed to 1. But Mark's has shown you it's easy to get the star, but it's who's around the star that he has a hard time bring it together. We cannot go through a James Johnson, DeAndre Bembry situation, Jevon Carter situation again. We just can't. It's unsustainable, and we're going to look like a bigger joke than what we already were when the Big Three broke up the way we did. And that should not be Brooklyn culture, and the fans shouldn't lose their money because of that. What do you think, Dylan?
I think Sean Marks is a fucking idiot.
It's just wild to me. If Johnson doesn't go anywhere, it's like you had a huge missed opportunity. I'm sold out for Memphis. I think Memphis is the best right now. Marcus Smart, Williams, and a 2026 pick. Sign off. Sign off, Sean, and move on. 2 picks is a great fantasy dream, but we live in reality. Get the 2026 pick. We have 2 firsts in that draft, and move on from Cam. Keeping them to get Giannis is just it's going to have a lot of fallback potentially, negative fallback, and we just need to go through that right now, especially when we have a set team. Our team is not set. We have Walmart guy and Reese Beekman playing main minutes right now. It's insane.
Yeah, it's not fun. It would be much better if he knew what he was doing, but clearly he doesn't. He never does.
I mean, Dylan, if you were the GM, would you have told your coach, I want your input and let's to make decisions together? Would you say, you're the coach, work with who I give you and follow the game plan? What would you do if you were the GM right now? Would you say we're a friendship team or I'm the boss?
I'd say develop our young guys, but we're here to draft high. Do your job.
Exactly. And Marks doesn't want to say that because he doesn't want to hurt Jordy's feelings. You're the boss. You're both adults. Do your jobs. That's it. If it's easy for people to do in this world, people do in basketball. But Marks wants to be everybody's friend, and that doesn't get you anywhere. Just like the results shown the last 4 to 5 years, doesn't get you anywhere.
Guys, please hit the like button. Subscribe. We're almost at 200 subs. So, guys, if you're not a subscriber, you're listening, please subscribe. Guys, also please smash the like button. Leave your comment as well.
What's it called? Leaf's been asking if you got a link. If you want to send it over to him.
Yeah, I'll send it to him. Leaf. I'm sorry, I'm keeping up with the chat. Let me send this.
Oh yeah, Dylan, why don't you talk about the Aaron Fox situation? You weren't on when we talked about it. What were your feelings about it when it happened, and how does this impact Brooklyn's future with potentially looking at star options if Fox goes somewhere else?
I think it proves exactly what I was reporting on, is that, and I've been saying De'Aaron Fox is going to be available by this upcoming offseason. Like, I've been saying that for a year. I was told I was crazy, and then when I repeated it and said, oh, look at that, I was right, I was told, oh, but anybody could have predicted that. So no matter what, people are going to say what they want to say, but I said it. So maybe you should start listening, because every situation in basketball, you can read like a fucking book. It's not hard. De'Aaron Fox being available does not surprise me one bit. They have failed him for 3 straight years since they've made the playoffs. They have just absolutely refused to improve the roster. He's been asking for a playoff caliber wing for 2 years, and they have not given it to him. Cam Johnson, right in front of their eyes, they refused to move Devin Carter, which is actually going to be De'Aaron Fox's replacement, right? They chose De'Aaron Fox over Tyrese Halliburton, and then they gave him nothing. So, yeah, it makes sense why he wants out. And he also even said that he didn't request a trade. He just has a preferred team if they trade him, which is now San Antonio, which I also said right before anything was reported too. It's not hard to see why he wants San Antonio. Wemby is a generational talent, and he's from Texas. Houston doesn't want to give up the picks because they want Devin Booker or KD. So, yeah, San Antonio is the clear and obvious favorite here. He's going to end up in San Antonio, whether it's next week or it's during this offseason. It's going to happen because San Antonio has the perfect package. They can give up Devin Vassell, Jeremy Schoen. They have 2 first-round picks this year that are projected in the lottery. Realistically, they can give up the Hawks, right? They'll just keep their own since they'll likely improve in the lottery standings. So you keep your own this year. You get rid of the Hawks. That's 1 pick. You get rid of the 2027 Hawks swap that they have. And then they also have the 2031 swap with the Kings. You give up that and 1 additional first alongside Devin Vassell and Jeremy Schoen. You've got a deal.
Like, I missed that. I missed that. I was trying to catch up. Who on the chat? Who is San Antonio getting?
De'Aaron Fox.
I see.
Yeah, that's a guarantee.
Is that worth it though? Like, do you want to trade away everything you built for De'Aaron Fox? Like, I'm not. Fox is a very good player.
Realistically, right? Like, what are they actually trading away? Like, they have 2 bad contracts in Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul that'll be off the books soon. Mm-hmm. With a Wemby as an all-star and a defensive player of the year, mixed with De'Aaron Fox, who is an all-star point guard. They're going to build that, right? San Antonio isn't just some low-market organization. Like, when they have players, players go there because players want to play with Popovich. They just don't want to go there when they suck. So,
no, for sure.
Like, realistically, what are you giving up? Devin Vassell, who's been injured half of the time. He's on a $29 million 5-year deal. You get rid of that, and Jeremy Schoen, who is a very mediocre player.
You think they can keep Castle in this trade? Because I'm assuming anything that brings in De'Aaron Fox, Castle goes out. So now
I think they can keep him simply because you still need a backup point guard. Chris Paul's likely just going to be traded to a contender. So it makes sense because Chris Paul's on the back end of his career. Like, you can just flip him for like a decent role player.
I'm not gonna lie, like that sound like something, but Chris Paul being on a 1 year, $11 million deal, which they signed him to, we already knew why he was coming in the first place. He was coming in to like basically groom somebody, and Stephon Castle was a part of that grooming or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, somewhat. I would like to believe. So the De'Aaron Fox, in terms of San Antonio and they report on it don't make a lot of sense to me. The type of players that they go for, they go for willing players. They don't go for players with, like, that not to say anything about De'Aaron Fox, but like, they don't go for players that's been mixed up in like any type of drama. And that whole firing with Mike Brown, man, that had drama written all over it.
Yeah, but that wasn't Fox. There was multiple reporters from the Kings side that said De'Aaron Fox actually loved Mike Brown, and then that he didn't even know he was being fired.
I mean, well, yeah, but at the same time,
that's actually the reason why he's now more upset is because Mike Brown was fired.
Yeah, I understand that, but from the outside looking in, bro, like, you can't convince another team that it wasn't a player. You can't convince another team that, like, they gonna think on their own, bro. Like,
I mean,
with or without all the facts.
Realistically, though, De'Aaron Fox is a perfect fit for San Antonio. Like, he's a Kentucky product. Every Kentucky guard plays amazing in the league, nine times out of 10, right? He's a guy that can play make, and he's a guy that can help Wemby in terms of spacing the floor. Like, they are in a position to do it. What's a better fit? Trae Young, who they were rumored for? That's not going to happen. He's a worse fit. DeJounte Murray, he already got dealt. They're not getting him. At some point, you got to put a really good point guard around him.
I don't know. I think they better off building the way they was, man. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just my opinion. I don't really want to talk too much on San Antonio, but I will say this. I've been calling for Sean Marks' job a year ago. I've been calling for Claxton to get. That's cool. I mean, I've been calling. Yeah. Live. Well, I could say I've been calling for live on podcasts a year ago. I've been calling for Clax to be traded a year ago. I've been calling for Cam Johnson to be traded a year ago. Guess what? All of these fools got money, and now we still want them out. Nobody listens to me. Nobody understands, bro, with my pedigree when it comes to these idiots. Get them the hell out of here. Get rid of these stooges. Like, stop sitting on them, bro. Like, I've been told before this season, bro, if we're gonna get the number 1 pick, which we're not gonna get, Sean Marks and Joe Asai has to be gone if we're guaranteed getting the number 1 pick. After this trade deadline,
let me push back on that.
Has to be up out of here, man. I'm sick of this shit.
Let me ask you this question, right? Joseph Tsai owns the team. You can't force him to sell the team, right? He owns it. It's his team. You can't make him sell it. And there's one person in this world who thinks Sean Marks is good at his job, and that's Joseph Tsai. It is what it is. Like, every net fan, everyone in basketball thinks he sucks. Joseph Tsai obviously thinks he's great, and he's got like the safest job in the world. So, I mean, what are you really going to do? If Joseph Tsai owns the team, you can't make him sell the team, and he thinks Sean Marks is good at his job when no one else does. Where are we at?
The Koch family already added on another 20% of the team. The Koch family, I don't know if y'all remember the Koch family from the old Koch records. Yeah. But that's what I was banking on, because that actually they started to buy pieces of the team last year or last season or whatever. But the reality of this situation is, you 100% right. Well, as long as we got these two bozos One bozo try believing in another bozo. This is the results you gonna get. The Nets most likely are gonna be like we probably listen. I ain't gonna lie. These 31 picks that we got, bro, we probably might have to use all of them, man, because Sean Marks is that much of a fucking idiot. Like he really, really is, man. Like I mean, I gotta side with Dylan on this one, bro. Like I've been saying, yo, lower the boom on this fool, bro. But the owner it seems to believe that he's doing his job. He's got his puppet and he's got his yes man to do what he want him to do, and that's that. As long as you got this in place, the Nets is still gonna be constantly where they are, bro. Like, luckily we ain't putting together 60 lost seasons like the Tangerines. This is gonna be one of them, but they put up like 5 or 6 in a row, some shit. But hopefully it don't get that bad. But
It's just wild. We got a second round to show for Sean Marks throughout these last how many 6 to 8 years, and Joe Side thinks that's good. If Sean Marks in any organization, Lakers, Boston, and he let that big three go down the
he
way he
is
did,
out on
they
his
would have
ass.
fired him. They would have fired him. But Joe Side likes to give this guy a lot of kickback for whatever reason we don't know. Maybe he has something about Joe we don't know about. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it does start with management. Management's responsible for building the talent. And Marks is showing you it's easy to get a start. It's easy to put 30, 10, 11, how many picks you want to throw at a start. But what are the dead piece around it? Sean's like, oh. And that's a problem. If you're going to go for it, go for it. But you have to make sure the team is good, not just sell tickets with one star playing 40 minutes a night, can't get a break, and whoever's behind them is
Sean,
giving you nothing. That's a
I
problem.
would say unless you Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, bro, there's no reason for you still to be here, bro. Like all after Kevin Durant and Kyrie and James Harden left,
I agree.
there's
I
no
agree,
reason,
Lee.
bro.
I agree.
Unless you one of the two of them or both of them, there's no reason for Sean Marks to still be here. There's really no reason for Sean Marks to still be. There's really no reason for Joe Tsai to be still here, but he's still here. And I'm waiting for the Koch family to get some more money so they could buy the 100%. So realistically, bro,
Well,
like,
the Koch family is the richest family in the world, so it's just a matter of it's Joseph's side. Like, what's the price, right? Like, they're a business family, right?
mm-hmm.
Right.
It's got to make sense. Like, I gotta get good value out of this, right? Like, they're not gonna just buy the team because they want to own the team. It's got to make economic sense for the Koch family to buy it, right? Look, I hope you're right, Lee. I hope anyone buys this. Like, Elon, anyone, are you listening? Please buy this team from Joseph. So just give him what he wants.
Not Elon. No,
We
not,
play
not him.
basketball,
No, not
Mars,
him.
boys.
Not him. Not him.
Can't be
Don't do that.
worse.
Space
Not
Jam.
Elon. Don't. Hold up. Gary, don't do that. Not Elon. Not him. Bro, listen. I just left Amazon, bro, earlier this month, bro. Not him. Not him, bro. Please, not him. Not Elon.
Listen,
We don't do no. We
But
don't
but
want
but
him.
Leaf, we can play basketball, Mars, man. Space Jam 3.
Listen,
I mean, listen,
I
I'm
wanna-
cool with Elon.
Space Force.
I want to ask this
Elon.
question.
You cool with Elon until you not, bro. I'm letting you know right now, bro. As a former Amazon employee, not Elon.
I
Not
want to ask
him.
this question, and I want to go around the panel.
I
Right?
thought, wait, Elon owns Amazon?
No,
Wait, what?
Bezos owns Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bezos. Yeah.
not Elon. Elon knows Twitter.
He owns Twitter and SpaceX
And
and
Tesla. Yeah.
Tesla. Yeah.
Wait,
If
Leaf, I'm
Elon
confused. So
owns Twitter, bro, go on Twitter, bro, like, and tell me what you see.
that he's
So I bet you, Lee. I bet you
he's a
think
funny
so.
guy and a little slow mentally. I can definitely see that.
Let me.
All right, let Gary ask the question.
I want to go around the panel. Look, for the foreseeable future, Sean Marks is our GM. What do you have more confidence in him building a competitive team with? Giannis and this pick, or no Giannis and everything that we have? Like all of our draft capital, everything that we have.
You're not getting this pick if you're getting
everything that we have. Just picking everything that we have. He's gonna pick somebody. I'm banking on him picking a player, picking the right player, or picking the right 4 players, or whatever the case may be. And then, all right, you can pack your bags, buddy. You can get up out of here. I don't see him here for the next 5 years of their career and them panning out, man. Because Cam Thomas's time has been wasted completely been wasted, bro. Like, and now it seems like be honest with you, I won't be surprised if Cam Thomas is not on this team next year. I won't.
No, I don't think. I would bet that he is, but I would not be shocked if he wasn't. They don't value him. They wasted. Leaf is right. Dylan, let me get to you. What do you feel more confident in Marks' ability to rebuild with Giannis, or with all the draft capital that we have?
Well, you're not getting this draft pick if you get Giannis. So I
trust him more. You gotta have Giannis.
I trust him more with the picks. Yeah, I'm saying we're not keeping our own pick if we get Giannis. In no world is that even possible. They are going to gut you.
We keep one pick, Dylan, not two. We keep one.
Yeah, we probably keep the latest pick from Houston. That's probably the pick you keep.
Oh, there's no way I'm making this trade.
Come on. No.
Yeah, there's no way I'm making this
trade. There is no world they trade a top 5 player for a non-top 5 pick. That's just not.
I'll give you my pick. I give you my pick next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not a chance. They're going to want to draft.
I'll give you your pick back so you can start tanking right now. I'll give you the Knicks pick. I'll give you our pick next year, and I'll give you a 2029 pick, and I'll give you Cam Thomas.
No, there's no world where it happens, and there's no world that Giannis.
Then we don't really have a package. I'm not trading. I'm not trading our top 5 picks this year. I'm not doing it. That's out.
Yeah,
that's
me either.
Fine. I'm out.
That's my point. Nobody wants Giannis. Not a single soul wants him if it's going to cost that. These De'Aaron Foxes, Giannis's, they can all fucking wait till 2026 or 2027 and they can sign here. Nobody wants to trade for them as a fan.
Right. And strategically, it makes more sense to sign a superstar free agent without having to give up any of your assets than having to give up your assets for a guy on a team with no depth. So the honest move doesn't make any sense right now because we don't even have a depth at all. And the Cam Thomas thing, like Leafs alluded to, that is pretty much the process the fan base wants him to be part of. If you trade Thomas, that means Marks didn't give a crap about no tanking, no building culture, and all that. You just want to get a superstar because I think Sean Marks still hasn't gotten over the Big 3 debacle. In his mind, he feels that he has to get another superstar to make up for that because right now, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and James should be on this team, and they're not. So the only reason why he didn't want to do this Giannis thing would be because he wants to get back there and hope that it could be something better than what it was, but it can't be. You had 3 of the greatest scorers of all time. You have one guy, 31, who's a freak of nature, but he needs a team. You look what he's doing on the Bucks right now. Just lost to the Portland Trailblazers. Like it's not going to get any better getting Giannis, and you have nothing to back it up. So why don't we stick with the course this year, see how this summer goes with the cap space, see how next season goes, and by the deadline, if we're outperforming expectations, you want to go for something, but don't go for it if you have to screw up your main assets for one guy. It's not going to end well, as we've all seen. Look at the Suns. It's not going well. Look at Miami with Jimmy. It's not going well. Like, why do we got to be another fiasco, soap opera drama nobody wants to watch? I'd rather just get back to playing fun, kick-ass basketball and letting the results shine on the court than having to be part of the media fan base frenzy and be a joke of a team. I don't want that for Brooklyn. So if that's why Marks wants to do this Giannis thing, count me, Gary, Dylan, Leaf, and all these others out because we're not going to be part of no joke and no soap drama. We want competitive basketball to be the standard of what Brooklyn basketball is supposed to be about, and that's what we got to stay on business when it comes down to it.
Well, right now, us being the only thing we really got going for us is the fact that being a top 4 valuable franchise, bro, somehow, some way, with all the shipment that we going through, bro. Like, I mean,
because we have more international fans than we have U.S. fans.
Exactly. So I mean, to be honest with you, bro, like the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden experiment, bro, like had that shit would have gone half as well or lasted half as long, I'll be honest with you, bro, we probably would be top 3. We probably would be top 3 right now, bro. Like, I mean, not to say nothing about Trump and the Lakers or the Tangerines, because the Tangerines done had Lance Thomas in their roster and they still been a top 3 franchise, man, because idiots want to see the damn Knicks. Be honest with you, bro. Like, yeah, this shit got to get cleaned up, man. This is some nasty doo doo, and it got to be cleaned up, man. Like, get a paper towel, clean this shit up, man. This is ridiculous. It's utterly disgusting.
Gary, you're muted.
I am muted. That's really all I got. I was gonna wrap this up. We didn't spend too much time on the game. I'll just go around the panel real quick. Any last thoughts from you, John, on the game or the Cam Johnson situation, or sorry, Mark? Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done. If we keep Johnson, there's a lot to consider with this summer. We already have the most cash is going to summer. Now we have to consider what is our real direction after we get a prospect. So I would say just buckle up this summer. This summer is going to be make or break for the rest of our future and the next 3 to 4 years. And Mark should not treat it like he's on a high wire gambling at a casino. You have a real shot to build this team up for the better. But if you try to take shortcuts again and screw us up, there are no 31 picks coming back to us if he screws us up. We actually got a second chance through great fortune after some horrible misfortune. This can't be the time to screw it up, especially if you have a real shot to not only build the future the right way, but to get the fan base back. Like, I want the base to be engaged again, but we have a product like we've been seeing this whole last year. Why would you want to be part of something like that? But you have the assets to work with. It's just, it comes down to your decisions. Can you make the right decisions, or do you want to make the impulsive decisions? The impulsive decisions, it feels great for the first few months, but then you got to live with it the next 3 to 4 years. And we had to live with it, unfortunately. And now we want to do something right. So hopefully we could get this all together and figure it out. But there's a lot of concern right now. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I'd rather go into after next summer, depending on what we do. I'd rather feel certain that we have a future than uncertain. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And only 3 more games to go before the deadline. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And if you guys want to talk any basketball with me, you can follow me on my Twitter at OS91413John. And we'll have some good conversations. But this was a great show, and I think it was important for the 4 of us just to get out where we're filming. And I feel like this was a state of the Brooklyn address that we all kind of gave. And if for anyone that's concerned right now, you're in your right to be concerned, because at the end of the day, we have a manager who doesn't really know what he's doing, but he has all these assets, and he just kind of wants to spend on the first chance he gets. Let's hope that he actually listens to the base and tries to learn from those mistakes, but we'll see.
Lee,
good show, guys.
Any last minute thoughts on closing thoughts on the game yesterday in general? Sean Marks.
Sean Marks is an idiot. I ain't gonna lie, bro. After this trade deadline, if Cam Johnson and Nicholas Claxton is still on this roster, I vote that we purge the Barclays Center. We need to get up in there, bro. We need to get them all.
What do you mean? Mets fans already do that enough.
No,
only like 30% of us in there.
We need to, no, that's what I mean, Dylan. That's not enough.
We need the sage. We gotta get the sage back.
We need a whole cleansing. That's what we need, bro.
They'll give $5 tickets to some bum off the street. They'll figure it out.
No. We need an entire cleansing, man. I need to see baseball bats, chains, ropes, all of that up in there, man. Like, listen, bro. Like, listen. If you gotta wait 4:00 in the morning underneath a trash can lid to find this dude, bro, like you do it. Get it done. I don't care where they are in this world, man. They pop the minute that they show up to the damn building. That's when we all need to be there. And when I find them, bro, like it's not gonna be pretty. I'm not gonna be talking about it. I'm not gonna be speaking my mind anymore. It's not gonna be no words. It's just gonna be straight action, because you screwed this up, man. And for the last 8 years, you done had 3 to go, bro. I'll be honest with you, bro. Us drafting better talent than Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, bro, is a crap shot. It really ain't even a crap shot. It's a 1 in an 8th billion. 1 in an 8th billion, bro. Like that's what it is. And I'm not leaning on 1 in the 8th billion, bro. If I was leaning on 1 in the 8th billion, I go play the lottery right now. And I don't gamble. So the reality is, bro, listen, get the shit right or get out. It's just that simple. I'm sick and tired of this, man. I'm out of here, man. Appreciate it, Gary, man. This shit is disgusting.
Have a good one, Lee.
Appreciate you, Lee. Dylan, close this out.
Yeah, Dylan.
Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We're 2 followers away from 200 subs. If you're watching on Twitter right now, feel free to follow us over there. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at NetsPress for all things Brooklyn Nets news. It's disgusting. I'm not confident whatsoever in terms of the trade deadline and this offseason, but I'm still confident in the draft. I'm really hoping that we pull through with this somehow. Bottom 4 has got to be the goal, because that's your easiest way to get into the top 3. So hopefully it stays that way.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Let me look at the schedule real quick. We're going live Saturday. Are we doing that, Dylan? Or what's the plan?
Saturday, I'm very busy. Royal Rumble, UFC fights, Duke versus UNC. It's going to be a little hectic.
All right. Well, we'll touch base. Saturday's also our next game, right? There's no game till Saturday?
Yeah.
That is correct, yeah.
We got Rockets.
What time do we play Saturday? Actually,
7 p.m.
Okay.
East at my time. So 8 o'clock your guys' time. It's 7 p.m. in Texas. 8 p.m. where you guys are at.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we'll try and figure it out.
All right, y'all. John, thank you. Appreciate you as always. Great job today. It's January 30th, 2025. From Texas to the world. Thank you and God bless.
Peace.
Later.